My name is Henk Krijnen. I'm here to talk to you about the course Major Investment Decisions Under Uncertainty in the Energy Sector. I've had a career of 35 years with Shell. I live in the Netherlands at the moment. I've also lived in other countries like Indonesia, Thailand, and the United States. I started as an engineer. I moved to economics and planning. In the last 5 years, I was in the corporate strategy and planning department in the head office in The Hague. And there I was involved in scenario planning, decision analysis, risk management, and related topics. And from that background and experience, I would like to share my knowledge in the course that I will discuss in this video. The world of learning has changed due to increased digitization and, of course, as a result of the COVID pandemic. Online learning is much bigger than before, and rightly so. Nevertheless, there is still great value in an in-person classroom course. However, this needs to be something special, covering a wide range of topics and considering a theme in a holistic way, with exercises and a project, so participants can learn from each other. The detailed specialized knowledge, which you still always need, can subsequently be acquired by online courses and engagements. So this is the philosophy behind the 3-day course Major Investment Decisions Under Uncertainty in the Energy Sector. With investment decisions, I mean the decisions about big projects such as power stations, oil and gas fields, LNG terminals, pipelines, hydrogen factories, wind energy farms and the like. I do not mean investments in stocks, just to be clear. The concepts and principles that I cover in this course will also apply to other sectors in the economy. However, it will be more meaningful to use examples and exercises that participants in a course can relate to more easily. So what does the course cover? First, we need to consider the context in which these projects are contemplated and pursued. A company or an organization will have a reason for being and staying, so it will have a strategy. There must be a mental model of the business environment in which it operates. That business environment can be complex and uncertain, with a variety of geopolitical, economic, market, legal, environmental, and technological risks. In my experience and with my Shell background, the best way to understand this business environment is by using the methodology of scenario planning. So I devote the morning of the 3rd day on this topic. So the assumption is that we have a reasonable understanding of the future business environment with all its uncertainties and that we can devise a good strategy. For executing that strategy, we need to make investments, or on the contrary, get rid of some assets, divestments, and perhaps do acquisitions. Ideally, there is a portfolio of opportunities and it will be required to choose the best set of projects to pursue, using well-considered criteria. So from the portfolio perspective, we need to move to the project level. For each project, you need to take an individual decision, and most of the time in the course, we will spend on that topic. First of all, we need to consider the decision process. There are quite a number of significant and large companies that in some form or another have adopted the so-called decision quality approach as this was originally developed at Stanford, California. In this course I will discuss this methodology, but I will also present an enhanced version of it with a slightly different emphasis. I developed this together with my colleagues in the joint venture Claridec. The essence is that we consider the decision process using the why, what and how segmentation. Simply put, this involves being clear about the purpose, which are the things to consider in the decision process, and which steps need to be taken to orderly arrive at the decision point. The steps to go through include define process, frame opportunity or problem, evaluate the options, decide, implement the decision, and last but certainly not least, perform a look back and learn. The things to consider are the timing, the facts and information required, the values in terms of objectives, boundary values, decision criteria, the decision scope, the alternative options, and the uncertainties and risks, and the stakeholders. The framing step is meant to upfront, and this is very important, collate a full overview of all issues in play. So all the things that may be relevant for the investment project. This is a key step, and in the course there will be an exercise to execute such a framing activity. A core element of the Stanford thinking is that project teams should be asked to deliberately explore several creative alternatives and not just go by the default option. A decision maker should thus not be given a choice between yes or no, but should be exposed to multiple alternatives. And these options will require to be evaluated, and this will usually be where most of the effort will go. As in most cases, the financial outlook for an investment project is the core decision metric. We will spend quite a bit of time on this topic in the course. For getting a clear picture of the likely financial performance, a cash flow analysis will be done. This is a tricky concept, and more often than not, the numbers presented have little to do with reality. To start with, there is the issue which discount rate to use. This is the rate at which the projected cash surplus numbers need to be discounted to translate them into meaningful values in the current year. In many companies, there are proponents of the approach to incorporate the project risk in the discount rate in some way. In the course, I will explain why this is nonsense and what a more sensible treatment of the discount rate would be. So how can we make a cash flow analysis more meaningful and deal with all the uncertainties in the assumptions? So we can calculate sensitivities, change the input variables, and then see what the impact is on the financial metrics like net present value. But it's more meaningful to think about inputs, costs and revenues, in terms of ranges, and then calculate what this means for the ranges in the decision metrics. We can then, for example, assess what the chance is that the investment project will make a loss. So here I have an example of a calculation I did for a community solar project. These are ranges for the net present value of the earnings over time that the community fund will receive at different levels of electricity prices. And these are subject to major uncertainties due to geopolitical troubles and the impact on the price of natural gas, which in turn drives the electricity price. The same principles will apply for evaluating the attractiveness of developing a particular gas field or of the construction of a nuclear power plant, for example. So what are the tools that can be applied in such an evaluation? There are many, but the main methods are the tornado chart, decision trees, Monte Carlo simulation, although this has the danger of being oversold, to be honest, and certain mathematical techniques. But don't worry, we will keep it high level and simple. If a participant would like to know more detail, we have lots of additional materials. By presenting such analysis, the value of the opportunity can be properly described without claiming unattainable accuracy. And even then, it must be realized that not all uncertainties can be captured in numbers and that qualitative analysis and considerations may even be more important. Hence, apart from financial performance, there will also be other relevant matters such as carbon footprint, social acceptance, environmental issues, energy security, safety, and so on. Sometimes they are referred to as non-technical issues or non-technical risks. In the course, we cannot flesh out all of this in detail, but we will take them on board in a group discussion, so we expect input from all participants. And what role can risk management play? The difference with risk analysis is that risk management also has the ambition to trigger and guide activities to mitigate or eliminate risks. But we should find a link with decision and risk analysis. The solution lies in quantification, when meaningfully possible. In the course I will show some useful techniques for this purpose. But no, not everything can be quantified. As Einstein supposedly has stated, not everything that can be counted counts, and not everything that counts can be counted. So investment projects are exposed to project-specific issues that can partly be translated to numbers. These need to be analyzed properly and presented sensibly. But there is also a more qualitative, less tangible dimension to decision making under uncertainty. Call it gut feel, call it intuition, call it a leader's instinct. And this can be supported by scenario planning, a methodology I referred to earlier. Let's listen for a moment to Pierre Wack, the founding father of scenario planning in Shell and in business. And this is from a presentation he made in 1986.
I would like to suggest that unless you change the mental model of a decision maker, nothing is going to change. He may look interested, but his behavior will not be affected. The point I want to make is the following. The purpose of planning is not to produce a document. What will the world of energy look like in 10 years' time? The purpose of planners is to change the mental map of their critical decision maker. Unless this happens, nothing will follow. It will be like water on a stone. The difference between a decisive company and a company which is less so is largely that in the first case, the worldview, the mindset is clear, or it is fuzzy. This realization from wanting to produce a document which you will not be ashamed of later, with a new target, which was to change the image of reality in the head of the critical decision maker. This is a fundamental switch. It is a revolution in planning, which is as important as when a company switches from selling to marketing.
Thank you, Pierre. So to sum up, in this course I will be cutting across quantitative and qualitative dimensions. You will be doing a project, running economics using a spreadsheet, doing a risk analysis, but also thinking about and discussing the softer issues, the contextual issues that are important for your investment project. And I hope to see you in this course.